In this tutorial, we're going to build a report using the Report Builder. The Report Builder is on the Tools menu and we'll be building a report based on Odoo's objects. Click on New button. Now this report will be a list of products that a customer has purchased. We give it an appropriate name, then we select the object model from which we'll be reporting. For this report, we are reporting from the invoice line details, which is Odoo's journal items model. Once the model is selected, all the fields belonging to that model are displayed for selection. However, let's first have a look at the Settings tab. The complexity item determines if you would like a simple list or a nicely formatted report including headings, etc. Mostly, you'll be selecting the full option. For the orientation, we'll select Portrait Report. The Compact JSON option refers to how the JSON code will be created. If the compact option is selected, then, for example, on a detail field, the parameters for that field will all be on one line. If it's not compacted, then all the parameters will be on their own separate lines, which is handy when you're learning or when you're just trying to tweak a few settings on the report. And here's the grouping options. Yes, we want grand totals and we want subtotals. This domain section we'll come back to shortly. Next, we'll go on to the field selection. To select our fields, we simply scroll down and select the fields by ticking this little box over here on the left-hand side. We need the credit field, because that is in fact the line total in this context. And we need the invoice date. For the invoice number, we select the move ID. The system will automatically use the name field, which is in this case the invoice number. This applies to all fields ending in ID. The name on the invoice line is the product description. And of course, we want the customer. We want the unit price. We want the unit of measure, and we need the quantity. Once you've selected the fields, you go back up the top and you click on Move to Top button. That moves all our selections to the top of the list. And this is where we can start to structure the reporting sequence of the fields on the report. Of course, it's going to be a report by customer, so we need the customer up the top. We need the invoice number here, we need the invoice date under that, and we need the name of the product, and then we need the product unit of measure. And the product name, we'll put that up there. The unit of measure, the unit price, and we need the quantity, and then line total, which is the credit. We are grouping by customer. We set our group by customer here, and this will be a level 1 group. We've only got one level of grouping for this report, and we want a page break on every customer. So that's how we do our field selections. Next, we'll be looking at generating the report. We now have our report with our field selections from the Odoo model. It is now simply a matter of clicking on the Generate Report button, and that's how quickly it generates. And all that JSON is now ready for us. By default, the system sets this developer preview flag to be enabled. So we can quickly go the Generate PDF button to see the report. And here is. It's not quite right yet, and we will need to make adjustments. We are selecting all lines on the journal item file. However, we are only interested in the ones that are on invoices and not lines belonging to the GL journals, etc. So in the next section, we'll see how we can change that. For our report to only print the product lines we need to change the domain. We can do that from the report builder itself. Now we can get back to that report builder by clicking on the menu trail here, which will take us back to our report. Or we can go back onto the Tools menu, click on the Report Builder, and pick our report. Either way, the Report Builder leaves our report exactly as we left it and ready for any changes. What we are interested in is changing this domain. We only want to see products that are on invoices. So the way we do that is to add a field selection here in our domain. This is just standard Odoo domain filtering notation. This filter is selecting all our line types of our customer invoices. And once we have that, we can click on our Generate Report again. Now notice what happens. It's created a new version of the report. If we go back to our Report Definitions menu, we can see here we've got two reports. So each time we click on that Generate Report button, it creates a new version of that report. The one that we're interested in at the moment is the latest one we generated, version 6. So let's have a look at it by going back to the Report Builder, which is now displaying the report in the designer. Click on the Generate PDF button and we preview the report. It's looking a lot better now with proper invoice numbers and proper products in our products column. But there are still fields in here that we don't need. So we go back to our report and we start adjusting the domain again. So we need to do a few more changes to our domain to get this report to display only the records of type product. So what we need in our domain is to enter a filter that will select invoice lines of the correct type. And then we generate our report again. It creates a new version, and you'll see here it's added our domain as part of the data source. If we generate the PDF again and look at our report, it's only showing products, and it's subtotaling them by customer, and it has a report total at the end. The next thing we're going to do is see how we add this as an action button to our contacts list. We're now going to refine this report further by selecting a particular customer and then extending it to be able to select any number of customers from an action item on our contacts list. What we're doing here is typical of a report's development cycle. We're going to add another filter on our domain, which will select only one particular record. So this is now selecting a partner ID with an ID of 9. So let's generate our report and we'll run the preview. The system is now creating the report for that single contact selected by their ID. So let's go back to our report again. In this instance, we're setting it up so we can put this report as an action item on our contacts menu. So we've tested it for one record. Generally, you'll do a lot of testing with it like this until you get your report looking right. And when you're happy with it, then we change that selection criteria from a single partner ID to the active IDs selected by a user. We save that and we generate the report. Now, if we run this report by generating the PDF, it won't produce anything because it's not selecting any records yet. But it's set up now to publish this to an action menu. Now the target model for us is our contacts. Select contact and create the action. So if we now see against the report here, this is our published action. Now when we go back to our desktop and select contacts, and we select the Acme Corporation, and we select the actions. Here's the action menu item for our report here. So if we select this report, it produces a PDF straight away, and it puts it in our downloads folder. And here's our report now that we've just produced. So it's as easy as that to attach a report action to a selected Odoo data model and then print that report for selected single or multiple records. This report is very similar to our tutorial report, 9.1, which is a full customer invoice based on the same data model. That's it for this lesson, but be sure to check out our other tutorials on our YouTube channel. The address is below.